Good morning, and let me begin with something that may completely change the way you think about living alone after 65. The biggest threats to your health, your safety, and your independence are usually not dramatic. They are not loud. They are not the things most people picture when they imagine aging. In fact, many of the risks that do the most damage are quiet, ordinary habits that can hide inside a perfectly normal day. And that is exactly why they are so dangerous. My name is Dr. James Walker, and after years of working closely with older adults, I can tell you that living alone after 65 does not have to mean living at risk. But it does require something most people never receive: a clear understanding of the mistakes that slowly chip away at independence long before a crisis ever happens. Today, I am going to walk you through 12 of the most important mistakes older adults make when living alone, counting down from number 12 all the way to number 1. And I want to urge you to stay with me all the way to the end, because number 2 is one of the most common mistakes I see, and most people do it every single day without realizing how much damage it can cause. And number 1 may be the single most important thing you can change if you want to remain independent, sharp, and safe in the years ahead. Before we begin, I want to hear from you. Drop your age in the comments below and tell me, are you currently living alone, or are you thinking about it? I read the comments, and they genuinely help shape what we talk about here. Now let's begin. Number 12. Treating your morning like it does not matter. One of the biggest mistakes older adults make when living alone is drifting into the day without structure. Waking up at random times. Staying indoors too long. Moving slowly from bed to chair to kitchen without giving the body a strong signal that the day has begun. That may sound harmless, but it is not. Your body depends on rhythm. Your brain depends on rhythm. Sleep, energy, digestion, mood, and even mental clarity all function better when your internal clock has a clear anchor. And one of the strongest anchors you can give it is a consistent morning routine that includes natural light and movement. When that anchor disappears, everything begins to slide. Sleep gets lighter. Fatigue builds. Focus weakens. Motivation drops. The whole day begins to feel less stable. If you live alone, morning structure is not optional. It is protective. Get up at a consistent time. Open the curtains immediately. Step outside if you can. Walk, stretch, breathe, move. Do not let the first hour of your day happen by accident. Number 11. Eating in a way that slowly weakens you. This happens more often than people realize. When older adults live alone, meals often become smaller, less balanced, less intentional, and less nourishing. Sometimes it is because cooking for one feels pointless. Sometimes it is because appetite changes. Sometimes it is simply because no one is watching. But undereating, especially undereating protein and fluids, can quietly accelerate weakness. Your body after 65 is less forgiving than it used to be. It needs better input, not less. Muscle mass becomes harder to maintain. Recovery becomes slower. Energy becomes more fragile. And if nutrition slips, the body notices quickly. One of the saddest patterns I see is this. People think they are eating enough because they are eating regularly. But what they are really consuming is too little protein, too little hydration, and too little nutrient density to support strength. If you live alone, food must become intentional. Not fancy, not complicated, intentional. Build meals around nourishment, not convenience alone. Because weakness often begins in the kitchen long before it shows up anywhere else. Number 10. Assuming your home is safe just because it is familiar. This is one of the most costly mistakes older adults make. People think danger lives outside the home. But for many adults over 65 who live alone, the home itself becomes the most common place where independence is lost. Not because the person is careless, but because familiarity creates blindness. You stop noticing the loose rug, the poor lighting in the hallway, the slippery bathroom floor, the clutter near the stairs, the awkward threshold between two rooms, the chair that is too low, the step that requires just a little too much balance at the end of a long day. Falls remain one of the most serious risks for older adults, and the tragedy is that many of the causes are preventable. If you live alone, you cannot afford to think of home safety as something for later. Later is often after the first fall. Walk through your home like an inspector, not like a resident. Look at it with fresh eyes. Your home should support your independence, not test it. Number 9. Managing medications casually. I need to say this clearly. Taking medication without a strict system is a major mistake when you live alone. Missed doses, doubled doses, confusing one pill with another, mixing prescriptions with over-the-counter products without realizing the interaction. These things happen more often than people admit. And when no one else is in the home, there is no second set of eyes to catch the mistake. The older body also processes medications differently. What your system tolerated years ago may affect you very differently now. A single medication error can lead to dizziness, confusion, blood pressure swings, dehydration, or an emergency room visit. Never trust memory alone. Not because something is wrong with you, but because this is too important. Use a pill organizer. Use labeled alarms. Keep an updated medication list. Bring everything to your doctor for review, including supplements. When you live alone, medication organization is not just a convenience. It is part of your safety system. Number 8. Letting loneliness become your normal. This one is more dangerous than most people understand. There is a difference between solitude and isolation. Solitude can be peaceful. It can be healing. It can even be joyful. But prolonged isolation is something else entirely. It can affect mood, memory, motivation, sleep, inflammation, and physical health in ways that are very real. Many older adults do not notice it happening. The world just gets smaller. Fewer calls, fewer outings, fewer shared meals, fewer reasons to get dressed properly, fewer reasons to expect company. And little by little, life becomes quieter in a way that is not peaceful, but diminishing. Human beings are not built to go emotionally untouched for long stretches of time. If you live alone, connection must be designed on purpose. Phone calls, neighbors, church, volunteering, community groups, family routines, shared meals. Even 1 or 2 dependable points of connection can change the entire emotional chemistry of a week. Do not wait until loneliness becomes visible. By then, it has often already been doing damage. Number 7. Going too long without moving your body. A lot of older adults living alone slowly fall into a dangerous pattern. They still move, but they no longer challenge the body. They walk from room to room. They do basic chores. They sit down. They get back up. They call that activity. But activity is not the same as exercise. The body needs demand. It needs a reason to hold on to strength, coordination, and stamina. If that demand disappears, the body adapts in the wrong direction. Muscles shrink. Balance weakens. Endurance fades. Confidence falls right along with it. One of the cruel realities of aging is that decline often disguises itself as comfort. You do a little less because it feels easier. But over time, easier becomes weaker, and weaker becomes harder to reverse. If you live alone, movement must be scheduled and deliberate. Walking, strength work, balance exercises, sit-to-stands, stairs, resistance bands. Your future independence is built through physical challenge in the present. Number 6. Living without a reason to be needed. This is a mistake people almost never talk about, and yet it changes everything. When adults retire, lose a spouse, or begin spending more time alone, it becomes dangerously easy to slip into a life with too little demand, too little responsibility, and too little purpose. And when that happens, health often begins to decline from the inside out. The human system responds powerfully to meaning. When you feel needed, you tend to move more, plan more, care more, and endure more. When you feel unnecessary, routines fade, motivation weakens, even self-care starts to feel optional. Purpose does not have to be grand. It does not have to be public. It can be mentoring one person, caring for a pet, tending a garden, serving at church, calling a neighbor every morning, helping grandchildren with homework, writing family stories down so they are not lost. If you are living alone after 65, purpose is not a luxury. It is protective medicine for the mind and body. And if this is helping you so far, take a moment to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. It helps us reach more older adults who deserve this kind of practical, honest information. Thank you. Now let's move into the top 5, because this is where the stakes become even higher. Number 5. Ignoring the early signs that your routines are slipping. Most major problems do not begin as major problems. They begin as small changes that are easy to excuse. Dishes staying out longer, laundry piling up, appointments getting forgotten, mail going unopened, less interest in cooking, less interest in leaving the house, sleeping at odd hours, skipping showers, losing track of time. People often dismiss these things as normal aging. Sometimes they are not. Sometimes they are the earliest signs that something important is shifting, physically, emotionally, cognitively, or all three. And when you live alone, there may be no one close enough to notice until the pattern is already well established. Pay attention to the condition of your routines. They tell the truth long before a medical crisis does. If the basics of daily life are getting harder to maintain, that is not a character flaw. It is a signal. And signals should be respected early, not after the damage compounds. Number 4. Refusing to build strength because you think that chapter is over. I hear this all the time. At my age, I'm too old for strength training. No, you are not. In fact, one of the biggest mistakes an older adult can make while living alone is assuming that strength is only for younger people. Strength is one of the foundations of independence. It helps you stand up, carry things, recover your balance, protect your joints, and remain capable inside your own life. Without strength, everything becomes heavier. Stairs become harder. Getting off the toilet becomes harder. Carrying groceries becomes harder. Recovering from a stumble becomes harder. And once everyday tasks start feeling heavy, people begin withdrawing from life without even realizing it. The body can still respond after 65. That is the good news. It can still adapt. It can still regain function, but only if you give it a reason. You do not need to become an athlete, but you do need to stop telling yourself the body is done changing, because that belief alone causes enormous harm. Number 3. Not having a real emergency plan. Now we are getting into one of the most serious mistakes on this entire list. Many older adults think they have an emergency plan because they own a phone. That is not a plan. A phone on the counter does not help much if you fall in the bathroom. A family number on the refrigerator does not help much if you are confused, weak, or unable to get there. Telling yourself, "I'll call someone if something happens," is not preparation. It is hope. And hope is not a safety system. If you live alone, you need real layers of protection. A wearable alert device. A check-in routine. Trusted contacts who know what to do if you do not answer. A spare key plan. Clear medication information. Medical details accessible in an emergency. People informed that you live alone. Preparation is not pessimism. It is wisdom. The point is not to live in fear. The point is to create enough structure that fear does not have to run your life. Number 2. Spending your evenings in a way that wrecks your sleep, your clarity, and your next day. This is the one I told you about at the beginning. It is astonishing how many older adults living alone unintentionally build an evening routine that slowly damages sleep, and with it, nearly everything else. Too much television late into the night, too much overhead light, snacking mindlessly, dozing in the chair for an hour, then struggling in bed. No consistent bedtime, no real wind down. Sometimes alcohol, sometimes silence that feels peaceful at first, but eventually becomes a pattern of overstimulation followed by poor rest. And the next morning, They wake up tired, foggy, discouraged, and physically less steady than they were the day before. Then it repeats. Sleep is not just rest. It is brain maintenance, hormone regulation, emotional recovery, physical repair. If sleep starts breaking down consistently, independence can start breaking down with it. And here is what makes it especially dangerous for older adults living alone. Poor sleep affects memory, reaction time, balance, mood, and judgment all at once. That means one bad evening habit can quietly increase your risk in multiple directions the very next day. Protect your evenings. Dim the lights. Reduce stimulation. Keep a sleep routine. Do not let nighttime become the hidden place where tomorrow gets sabotaged. And now number 1. The most dangerous mistake older adults make when living alone after 65. Number 1 is waiting for a crisis before making changes. This, more than anything else, is what takes independence away. People wait until after the fall to improve the home, after the medication mistake to organize prescriptions, after the loneliness becomes depression to reconnect, after the weakness becomes visible to start strength training, after the memory slips become frightening to challenge the brain, after the emergency to create a safety plan. But by then, the recovery is often harder, slower, and more costly than it needed to be. The older adults who remain safest and strongest while living alone are not the ones who panic well after something goes wrong. They are the ones who prepare while life still feels mostly fine. That is the secret. Prevention does not feel dramatic. It does not create urgency. It does not force your attention the way a crisis does. But it is one of the most powerful forms of self-protection there is. If you are living alone after 65, your independence does not disappear all at once. In most cases, it is either protected or weakened through small choices repeated over time. So let me bring this full circle. Living alone after 65 is not the problem. Living alone without structure, without safety systems, without physical challenge, without connection, without purpose, and without prevention, that is the problem. If you avoid these 12 mistakes, you give yourself a far better chance of staying strong, sharp, safe, and independent for much longer than most people think possible. You deserve to feel secure in your home. You deserve to feel capable in your body. And you deserve to know that aging does not mean surrendering your life one small habit at a time. If this message helped you, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. And now I want to hear from you. Which of these 12 mistakes do you think is the most dangerous, and which one are you going to fix first? Tell me in the comments below. I'm Dr. James Walker, and I'll see you in the next one.